All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Get in the Groove, a back to school series brought to you by Slidesgo. Today is Wednesday, August 16th, and we've been excited each and every one of these, but today we are joined by Melody Munch, who will introduce herself. Hi, there you are. In just a moment. But before we get to Melody, I would like to introduce myself and share a few tips for how to be part of this presentation today. So my name is Elisa. I am new-ish to the Slidesgo team, not new to education technology as a whole. And I decided that I was going to join Slidesgo, the team, because this tool I'm witnessing is giving educators everywhere the opportunity to be storytellers. And that is so exciting. And what we get to learn today is how Melody has done that. Before we get started, note that this is going to be an interactive presentation. So please use the chat, bottom right of your screen, there's a little comment box. Use that chat. I will absolutely be looking for your questions throughout the presentation. And I think that's it. Melody, how you doing?
Doing good. Thank you, Elisa. Yeah, anytime I can't see the chat, but you can. So just hop in and say, hey, we have a question. I love answering things as we go just to keep it most helpful for everyone.
You got it.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's me.
Sorry, I've been doing that while you were saying all of that. But Sarah, you good? Anything else you wanted to say about you?
No.
Okay. All right, you're awesome. Well, thank you, Elisa, for setting all of this up. It's been an honor. I love using Slidesgo in my own classroom. So this collaboration was so exciting to me because it just fits in so well with how I've done everything in my classroom. So if you don't know me, hi, my name's Melody Munch. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I taught second grade for the past 8 years, all of them in second grade because they're just the absolute sweetest in my opinion. I love the perfect balance of like loving to learn versus having some independence. So that's just my favorite age. And now I also share ideas on my Mrs. Munch's Munchkins pages. So that is kind of how Slidesgo found me. And slides have been a game changer for my classroom. Using has impacted me so much. So it's really my honor to share about that with you. So in this session, we're going to talk about why use slides in your classroom with your students. We're going to show you lots of slide set examples, and I'm going to show you so many different free Slidesgo templates that you can use. We have linked all the different ones that we're showing you. There's a little box that has what Slidesgo set that is, and we're also going to be showing you all the links. We're going to be giving you all the links to those later, so you'll be able to go back and click on the slide where the attribution box is, the link to that specific slide set or resource, so it's really easy for you to find in the future. We're also going to show you how to use engaging slide elements that even students could manipulate the slides themselves if you have a way to share slides with your students, like on a platform such as Google Classroom. And then we'll have time for questions, but as Elisa mentioned, feel free as we go to type something in the chat and she can let me know and we can answer as we go for anything applicable. So let's get started with why use slides? Why are they such an amazing tool? There are really so many reasons I could talk all day, but I decided just to pick my top 4. And that would be first, confidence for you as the teacher. So when we lesson plan, there's a lot of things that we are needing to think about, and being able to have the slides to plan out our lessons gives us that visual roadmap of start to finish exactly every activity we're going to do, and every beat of the lesson can be built into our slides, and that makes us feel confident as we teach. So teaching with the slides, it's kind of like having a teacher assistant in a way, just without hands, but it's that way of being able to support our lessons with engaging content. So it really helps the tone and this rhythm of your lessons go smoothly. I also love that slides keep me very organized, and it's so helpful to be able to go back to a slide set and see exactly what I did pace for pace, beat for beat, year over year. And it's able to help me keep my units in sections. So whenever I plan a unit, if that unit's 2 weeks, that 2-week unit is built in the slide. So if I ever need to reference that unit or go back to it, I know exactly where to find it. It's all in my slide deck. I love as well that slides really help with the flow of my lessons and the flow of the classroom day. There's just so much going on. So when we have the slides, it provides a consistent rhythm, and it helps us transition from one thing to the next. So between subjects, I love including timers in my slideshow to really help us go from one thing to the next. And it gives the students an expected pace that just guides us through our whole day. So I love that. Also, a big one is visuals. I love that with slides, you can support your students by giving them an extra way to see the content you're teaching. And those visuals will really support them and help them connect more with what you're saying. So many of our students are not just auditory listeners, so they might miss a lot of the amazing things that we're teaching if we're only speaking them. So being able to reinforce those concepts we're teaching with an added visual is so engaging for them and helps them process more of what we're saying. It will also keep their attention more, and it gives you the opportunity to be really inclusive and provide lots of things that would apply to your students or help them see themselves in your lessons. And the last reason I chose is because of how much time it has saved me. Year over year, being able to reuse slide sets that I've made, even back from like my first year of teaching, being able to tweak them and reuse them gives me so much of a time saving just effort year over year. So I don't have to start lessons from scratch. I already have it built in my slides. So I feel like they're really the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to lesson planning, because they pay you back so much in the classroom being able to teach with them, but then also they just help you have to plan less whenever you're teaching a similar or same content in a coming year. So we're going to show you some presentations now. Interactive presentations engage students in the learning process. So that's really the theme of this, is how do we engage our students in using presentations to leverage keeping their attention and their engagement. So I'm going to show you a lot of examples. We could, again, spend all day looking at them. I just selected a few and tried to select some in different topics so you could see a variety. And these are real slide sets that I made for my class. So I didn't doctor them up. I didn't like edit them in any special way. I just wanted you to see exactly what they looked like for my classroom so that you could get some ideas of how you could use them for your own students. So here is a Slidesgo set I absolutely love. And again, if you're looking for which set it is, it'll be linked for you as well. But in that bottom little box where it says featuring Slidesgo's online notebook template, that's the name of the template, and then that will link to this specific template. And this one comes in different colors, and I've used it so many times, but one of the times I used it was teaching erosion in science. So this is a look at what a lesson looked like. So we often started off with a KWL chart, activating prior knowledge. We would be writing down things we learned in the L column. And I've linked this template for you as well. So this is a template we'd start off with. So that was helpful because I could show that visual on the board and students knew exactly what paper to get out. So we'd get out our KWL paper. They'd bring their pencil and their whiteboard to the carpet, and we'd be ready to write down some facts that we learned for the day. I love putting educational posters or terms in the slide. So we were learning about erosion. So I put a visual of what erosion is, and we talk about that term. They could see it. We could talk about the definition, and it just helps them being able for me to reference it word for word how I want to say it, and for them to be able to connect that visual. I often included videos to support learning. So I found an erosion song from Generation Genius on YouTube. I love that about slides too. If you haven't used slides a ton. Oh, I was going to ask that. Sorry, Elisa, I forgot. I would love to know if you would put in the chat, have you already been using slides? Are you familiar with this? Or is this something new you're wanting to try? Kind of where are you at with that process would be interesting for us to know. Slides are something that I've been using for years now, but I know there's still a lot of people who have really never thought about using them for the classroom. So it's always fun to teach both camps of new people versus people that have never tried before. Are we seeing anything, Elisa? What are people saying?
There's a poll, and I'm not sure if everyone can see the poll. Yeah, we went fancy. And so right now we've got 2 votes for yes and 1 vote for not yet, but I like the chat. Thank you, Alia. Thank you. Started using last year, but still feel like I could learn a little more. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm going to end the poll now.
Awesome. I see someone has never used. I see that popping up on my phone. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I love that you're willing to try new things. We can always be learning from each other. So it's always great to be hearing new ideas, but I know I'm always trying to make my ideas better. So I love that if you've already been using them and you're just here to learn more. But if you haven't used them before, I wanted you to know that when you insert a video into Slides, if you're talking about on Google Slides, Slidesgo is great and you can download their templates to PowerPoint as well. But I typically use them on Google Slides because I love to link in different things and I love to insert videos. And if you insert a video from YouTube into your Slidesgo deck, the ads automatically go away because YouTube kind of knows that if you're playing a video in a presentation, you don't really want to watch an ad while you're playing it. So it never shows an ad if it's embedded into the slide. So this is, I'll turn down the sound because I don't know how that's going to sound for you, but that's really helpful. I can just play the video. I don't have to worry about playing an ad. It just is right there in the video. So I just go to the insert tab and then find the video that I want, and it pops right into my slide deck. So that's something I use all the time with videos. Here is a different slide set. This is on states of matter. Love this slide deck from Slidesgo as well. All the fun images there. Really lets us know we're into science time, and that's really fun. Here's another video I inserted because we were talking about states of matter. So this was a really good video just to introduce and give visuals to that concept. And I love finding other just graphic images like this one. This is a free one from Science Demo Guy on TPT that I'll have linked for you, talking about molecules. I remember doing this with my students. We talk about how solids have particles that are close together, liquids have particles that are somewhat close, and gas has particles that are farther apart. And this visual was perfect for that. They could definitely see what we were talking about, and we could reference it in a way that would really help it stick. So we also want to show you some slides that have animations because animations are just fun and captivating and very simple to set up. So here's an example with the states of matter set. I had a visual of some kind of object, and then I would have the class tell me, okay, what state of matter is it? And then I'd click and it would reveal, okay, this is a solid. Flowers are considered a solid. So whenever we're doing that, it's very easy in your slides to click the animate button, and you can animate different objects to move into the slide or to come up or to disappear. And that can just add a little bit of an engagement into your lesson in a way that doesn't cost you a lot of time to set up. So very simple on your end. So I love using that when applicable and super easy just to insert those images or text boxes into the slide. So we did that a couple more times. So we had gas, liquid, so very easy to set up. And once it's set up too, you can just copy the slide and put your information in. So I'm not having to do a ton of extra work to create a new slide from scratch. I'm just copying the first slide that I made and editing it to be applicable for whatever the answer is. So that was some science examples, but I also wanted to show you how I used slides in morning meeting. I use slides for my entire day, just like to guide you through the day, but then each of the sets I'm showing you, I would build out separately. So like when I made the states of matter set, that was a 2-week unit. So I would have the entire 2 weeks built out in that slide deck. And every time we'd go to a new day, I would just make a title slide. So what you're seeing here is an example of that. This was a morning meeting unit on being trustworthy. So it would say being trustworthy day 1, and then I'd have below that the slides we were using for day 1. And then when I was ready to make day 2, I would just copy this exact slide and put day 2, just change the day 1 to day 2, and then put in what we were doing for that day. So my entire unit was built out, and whenever it was time to use it, I would just have it linked in my daily slides. So whenever I would go through our day, it would say science time, and then I'd click on science, and it would open up my science slide deck. So that would be what I'd click on for morning meeting. I would click on my morning meeting, and I would link it to that specific slide deck I created, and it would pull up. So this is a Being Trustworthy unit. And I talked to my students on some different discussion points, but sometimes there's a lot to discuss. So I love putting whatever discussion points I want in my slides so that I remember what I was going to ask them. So we were talking about how we behave when no one is watching. Can you be trusted? Do you have integrity? And that being trustworthy earns you more privileges because you can be trusted with more. Why should you be trustworthy? And I had some different points I wanted to make. Then we talked about some different examples. So I inserted some images. That's really easy with slides. I love that you can just go to insert image, and then you can search on the web for an image you want to insert. As long as you're using that for personal use, you can do that without any problem. So we talked about texting and driving and how that's an example of, are you going to be trustworthy when you're on your own on the road? How even adults have situations where they have to be trustworthy. We talked about being trustworthy with money so that when you get older, you can afford to buy things you need. Like if you want to buy a place to live or rent for your apartment or a home, things like that. So I inserted some images just to make that more visual. And again, just using simple animations to have them appear. Here is another set that we used in morning meeting about being a good sport. So I have different text coming in because whenever I'm inserting text, if it's just all there to begin with, it can be a lot for us to look at. But if I animate the text to come in as we talk about it beat for beat, then it's just a little easier for us to digest and look at. So we talked about different things that make being a good sport and how we were going to do that in our classroom. We had some other discussion questions to do. And then if we had any activities, I would have inserted those there. So that was just a glimpse at some of the slides I've used. And again, all of those are going to be linked for you so that if you want to use any of those specific templates, they are free on Slidesgo, which is amazing. That's such an amazing platform with so many options. I wanted to show you a few other slide sets I just love, but I didn't show you about. There's so many, but these are just some cute ones, especially for back to school. I love this kawaii interface one. It has lots of different colors. So you can pick which color you want to use. Like this is the pink one that I'm showing you, but they have other color templates if you don't like that specific color. I love this art subject slide deck. It has so many cute images, like clip art type of images that just really are engaging. And I love this elementary choice board one that is really pretty, pastel and soothing, and has really cute graphics as well. So all of those will be linked if you're interested in any of those. Okay, so now we're going to show you some Slidesgo sets that have interactive activities pre-built into them, which is amazing. They really go above and beyond for education to help us in the classroom. So these are some different slide decks that already have built-in activities that you could use with your students. So this is from the Funny Family Quiz template. And it's an interactive like game show, which is awesome because you could also edit it to be something that's your specific content. So it's like a trivia game. So which muscle is a swim and stretching? Then you could select on your computer, or if you have a board that allows you to touch the board, you could touch it on the board. So let's say they picked hamstrings. Oh, they got the points. Congratulations. And then you could navigate back to the next question, or if they got it wrong, let's see if it'll let us go back to that one. Okay, let's say they got it wrong. Then it'll say, oops, wasn't it this time? So that's super cool that you could create a game show type of vibe with your students. If you have a way to share the slides with your students, which at my school, my past school used a platform called Canvas, and we used that to link different elements of work the students needed to do. So we could upload our slide document for the students there that they could edit or manipulate. So you could do it that way, or if you have Google Classroom, that's another way to do it. And you could upload a set of slides that you want the students to edit and then turn in. So something like this would be really fun for them. This is a word search activity from the interactive lesson for elementary template, and they could go into their slides. We can't show you in this view because we're in present mode, and when slides are in present mode, you can't manipulate them. But if they're not in the editor mode, then they can be moving and dragging and highlighting things around. So that would be, especially for older students, something really fun for them to get to do. This is another like find the differences type of picture. So that would be a really fun activity. And I love this one, family tree. They would, again, out of presenter mode, be dragging and dropping the correct labels into the tree. And there's even a quiz for it. And then this is one that I hadn't seen before. This is from the English Language, Phonetic, and Phonological Issues template. And it even has audio embedded. So you could play the word for your students, which is super cool.
Head. Mother.
So that's kind of cool. I'm just talking about different words as you're going over phonics skills and different vowel sounds. That would be something cool you could do to even have that pre-built for you in the slides. This is another activity the students could do. They would hear the word.
Fill.
That one said fill if you couldn't hear that one. So they would hear fill, and then they would have to edit the slide to have the correct letter, the correct vowel sound. So super cool as well. And there's so much more. We're really just showing you a tiny sample. The best way to see more is just going into Slidesgo's website and looking through the different templates they offer. I believe, and Elisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's even an education whole section that you can look at whenever, yeah, okay, she's nodding, yes. So you can go look at those specific templates to really see the ones that are built with you in mind. I also love to use slides for different times of the day, like groups. So if you do math groups, you could build your own math group slides. And I know Slidesgo has some templates that have grids in them that you could edit. This is a template that I made on slides from my pastel set, where I use this for my math groups every day. I love embedding a timer from a simple video. That way we can all stay on track with how much time we're supposed to be spending in that group. And I just put their names in for whatever group they should be in. And then it says what they're doing on the left side and where they should be in the classroom on the right. So that would stay up during our round one. And then I would just switch the slide as we moved to our different rounds of math groups. So we did that for math and reading groups. Super great visual. If you have younger students, you could even put a picture of the activity they should be working on instead of the words. And then they would know, oh, okay, I see playing cards. I'm going to go play the card game at this station. And you could have a picture of where they should be in the classroom. I also love doing timers for different procedures. So at the end of the day, we would have a procedure called magic trash, which is how we clean the classroom, where students are picking up as much trash as they can find, throwing it away to end the day. And I would just spot a couple of pieces of trash that were our magics, and whoever found the magics, which don't reveal to the end, so that they keep cleaning up that whole time, of course. But at the end, you reveal who found the magics, and in our class, they would just get like a mint or a Jolly Rancher to take with them. So that was always a really fun way to end the day. And they knew that while the timer was on, that was the time they had to look. And as soon as it was over, our routine was to all go to the carpet for our end of the day meeting. And this little timer, you can find ones that have sound or without sound. This one has a cute little tune to it. We would play that one, but you don't have to use the music. You could also mute it if you don't like it. So I have so much more information I could share for you, but we did want to save a little time for questions. So this slide has some links on it. I have links to the Slidesgo templates. I have a link to a blog post where I've described more of how I would build out a slide set from scratch for a new week. I have a whole tab in my Instagram page of video examples of me using slides. I even offer a course on slides if you're really wanting to dive deep that you could see more of. Oh, and I have to mention the slides clicker. When you're teaching in class, it's really nice to have a presentation clicker so that you can be changing the slide from anywhere in the classroom. So I linked one that I love to use on that slide. So we have about 5 more minutes. Is there any questions that we have of things you would like to know or things that you would like more information on?
While we're waiting for questions, can you help little me? I would love to use a presentation clicker.
Yes.
And I'm completely intimidated by that. Can you talk to me about that?
Yes, don't be. So there's a lot of different ones, but I use like the simple one that just changes the slide.
Okay.
And there are some that like have the ability to click on things within the slides, but I didn't find much success with that. So I just kept it simple, and I got the one that it looks like the size of a pen or so. And
Yeah.
it comes with a little like USB drive that you just insert into the computer that you're having the slides projected on. So you insert it, it makes a little noise. You have to have like a AA battery or something, or maybe AAA. And then you just turn the clicker on and it will flip through. You can go forward or backwards, either way. And it even has a volume control. So if I was like having a video playing, I could adjust the volume up or down. And then just I'm clicking through my slides, whichever way I want to go. So super simple, very easy. And I love that like I could take it with me. So when I was presenting at a school the other week, I actually forgot my clicker, but luckily somebody had one. So I was able to bring their clicker and insert it into my laptop and still use it. So you can pair it with anything just by inserting it. It knows that, okay, I'm pairing this computer slides with that clicker. So really easy if you're a teacher that like has to switch classrooms to use in multiple rooms.
Yeah, or somebody who travels to conference. I mean, in my case, right? I just didn't know how that would work. So I'm so grateful for learning that.
Yes.
Looks like Christine asked a question.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. Is it in the chat?
Oh yeah, I can say it. She's asked for suggestions on writing and moving items in a slide while in presentation mode.
Okay, so if you're in presentation mode, it's not going to let you click on anything if your slide is presented unless you have like a special interactive board. But typically those boards require you to use their interactive program of slides, because whenever we're presenting like a set of Google Slides or PowerPoint slides, they're expecting that that is a presentation. So it kind of makes all of it like an image. So you can't be clicking on things if it's presented. So you could minimize or go into like the editor mode and be manipulating things through that. But if it's presented, it's not going to let you move things around. However, you can freeze your screen if your board has that ability. So if you want to write on your screen, you could do that, or I usually just have it presented and I had a board where I could use pens to write on it, or if your board happens to be a whiteboard, then you should be able to write on the slide. So I did that a lot with writing. We'd have like an image of a piece of notebook paper. My students would have their notebooks. I would have the slide displayed, and then I would either freeze it if I had a whiteboard and would be writing what they needed to start writing their paper like, or if I had an interactive board, I would just use those interactive pens to be writing on the board. So any like work page you have, if you scan it in or clip it in, you can put that image on your slide and be filling it out with your students. That way you don't have to like go back to an overhead projector. It could just all be embedded into your slides is how I like to do it. Oh, sorry, Elisa, I think you're muted.
Oh my gosh, it's 23. Did I not learn? Okay, sorry. It looks like we have time for this one last question from Cindy. Do you build your slides for the whole week in one file, or do you have only one file for the day?
Good question. I do build them for the week, but the slides could get rather long if I kept all of my specific learning within that weekly set. So that's why I build out the subjects in their own slideshow. So like my daily slides just go through our schedule, basically. It says morning meeting. It says the timer for the transition, writing, grammar, phonics, whatever we're doing is laid out in my daily. But then when I get to a subject like writing, it would say writing, and then I would link that slide to my writing deck. So those I kept separate. That way, if we ever needed to skip a day or we needed longer on a day, I wasn't having to manually move slides to the next day. I just could go to that slide deck and then find wherever we were at in the slide deck and present from that day. So that just kept it very organized for me rather than building all of the specific slides in one big slideshow. If I just linked out to my specific subjects, that kept everything very neat and organized and was less work on me to be able to find where we were at every day.
That makes a ton of sense. Thank you so much for sharing. We are right at the end of the half hour. And on a note of organization, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Melody,
Great.
it's been amazing to have you. You just had like a mind-blowing amount of information and practical tips into that.
Good. Well, I'm so happy to help. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. And if you have more questions, you're always welcome to email me at mrsmunchesmunchkins@gmail.com or on my Instagram. You can find me under the same username if you had a question you think of later.
Thank you, Melody. And this will be available on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the summary below for links, and also the slides, which have a treasure trove of links to the actual templates that Melody has used, are available in the Slidesgo educator community, which there's a link to as well. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your days, everyone.
Awesome. Bye.